Hey everybody, Tucker here with Covenant Robotics. Wanted to tap in here and give you guys a 1 month update with the Lymow One Plus. So we've had this mower over my left shoulder here running for about 4 weeks now in our yard, and it is safe to say I am never getting on a zero turn ever again. I have been running this mower nonstop, mowing my yard, I think on an average of 3 times per week, and my yard has never looked better. It's thicker, it's darker, it's healthier, and actually it's cutting better. Now that my grass is healthier, it is cutting much better than it was prior. If you go back and watch my first video, you can tell a significant difference in the color and the overall health of the grass that I have here in my yard. Before it was, kind of a yellowish green. If you go back and look at some of the more close-up clips that I had, you could actually see some of the browning, the yellowing, the stress showing. Number one, from the heat, it's cooled off a little bit, but number two, I think just the consistent cuts that we are putting on this yard is improving the overall health of it significantly. So that's the good. What's the bad? Let's talk about the bad. In 4 weeks, we have had a couple of very small issues, but nevertheless issues. One of the big things about the Lymow One Plus, when you compare it to the Lymow One, its predecessor, is the charging. The Lymow claims to have completely fixed all of the charging issues that the Lymow One had with the top charging contacts on the Lymow One Plus. And while I can overwhelmingly say that they did, based on what I had seen about the Lymow One, there are still a couple of things that has made it not perfect, so to speak. One thing that I have noticed is that when it is raining, if the contacts get wet and then it goes back to the dock, it has trouble hooking up to charge. It will actually place itself properly. It will dock up perfectly fine. That's not an issue. With the wet contacts coming together on the charging side and the mower side, those contacts do not transfer energy as cleanly. And so what that results in is actually charging errors that you get in the app every so often. It does actually charge in between, and then sometimes I'll get an unexpected charging stop error code there within the app, and I can go out there and actually, the fix that I have discovered for that is actually just to take a towel, and if I wipe the charging contacts down on the robotic mower side, on the Lymow side, as well as the charging side, boom, fixed, done, not a problem at all. So one thing I've tried to do is when it's raining, I have mowed in the rain a couple of times and I've encountered that issue, but then actually outside of that, if it actually starts raining, I will actually race the mower back. I'll just, tap the dock button, pause the route, it can finish it later, and send it back to the dock so that, that problem does not occur. And when it's done raining or it clears off or whatever, I'll actually send it back out into the yard. All right, what else? Talking about the bad here. Something else here while we are on the negatives after 1 month is that the blades actually come pretty dull from the factory. They are steel, you can sharpen them. You're gonna see a much better quality of cut, especially on thicker grasses. Like I've got orchard grass in my yard. I talked about that in the previous video. And it has a little bit of a harder time actually cutting that orchard grass on the first pass. It does clean it up on the second pass, and it does a good job with that. And with the fescue, no problem. It'll chew right through it the first time it runs by. But since I have actually sharpened my blades, there is a significant difference in the quality of the cut when it comes to the orchard grass and other weeds and different type of grasses that you may have in your yard from what I am seeing. It's not really a negative, but one thing we are doing with our customers who are purchasing through us is recommending that they set their Lymow up in a temporary fashion for the first 10 to 14 days, the first 2 weeks of operation. And the reasoning behind that is most of the time, you're not gonna hit the nail on the head the first time. You may find out that, hey, I don't want to put my charging station in the garage because I don't want to have to raise and lower my garage every time it goes out. That was something that I encountered the first time when I set it up. I thought I wanted it indoors in my garage, out of the rain, out of the elements, but it was going to become burdensome to actually lift and close my garage door every time it went out. On top of that, there may be areas around your home where you don't get the best RTK positioning data. I have it around back here. I showed it in the first video. I can show you some clips here of kind of how I have it set up. It's about 8 to 10 feet from the edge of my house. I have it plugged into an outdoor outlet. You can plug it into the charging station. I just chose to plug it directly into the outlet, but I have it about 8 to 10 feet from the edge of my house, and I get perfectly good data. I am 0.01 meters in accuracy almost around the clock. There have been a couple of times when I have tried to manually drive it up onto the dock. Sometimes in those scenarios, I have seen it jump to 1 meter or 2 meters, but I've never seen it do that while it's mowing. My stripes are always straight, and I don't have any just ragged spots in the yard where it just completely missed because of bad positioning data. So we are recommending that there is a temporary setup for the first 14 days to our customers. And while that's not necessarily a bad, it's more of just like a learning curve, but I just thought I would include it here. All right, last negative, and then we're gonna go back to the positives and cover those a little bit more in detail. So one of the issues that I had here within the first month of operation was actually the other day, just about 3 or 4 days ago here now. And what was going on is I was actually out of town. My wife and I we were with the in-laws for the weekend. And so I had my mower running while I was not home. Everything was going good. Everything was going great. And you could almost kind of blame this on me, to be honest with you. But I actually put some pavers down outside of the charging station so that the Limo was not running over pine needles and you know, scraping those up and making bear marks in my landscape. It would actually run over the pavers. It would dock itself. It would back up over the pavers, and then it would drive out onto the concrete and into the yard. And that worked smoothly, but this one time it did not. I think it spun around and it, you know, moved the paver out of the way and kind of bottomed out. And so it was having trouble actually seeing the tag on the charging station. For whatever reason, it could not dock itself. And I think, again, I think this is my fault. The pavers are not going to work out. I'm going to have to change something up and do something different there. But with that being said, it gave me an error. You know, with these mowers, you cannot drive them manually. I tuned into the camera, looked at it. It was just sitting there looking at the charging station. And because I was out of town, I was out of Bluetooth range, I could not drive it manually. So what I actually did was I texted my sister. She came over here. She placed it on the charging station for me. No big deal. Everything was good. So then I was like, well, I'm just going to leave it. If it's the pavers, there's no point in, you know, me trying to send the mower back out to mow because the pavers are just going to get in the way. Basically, these pavers are like 1.5 inches or 2 inches tall. And so each time the mower, you know, the track would fall down in between the pavers, the belly pan would bottom out. And so it kind of couldn't go anywhere. Eventually it would work its way out of it, but most of the time I was getting error in that specific scenario. So after I got back home from being out of town for the weekend, my route was still being remembered. I tried to hit resume. Obviously the mower was on the dock. It had charged up to 100%. It was waiting on me to press go. So I sent it back out into the yard to actually resume mowing to finish the cut. And it would actually just back up like 1.5 inches or 2 inches off the contacts. And then it would immediately just say mowing pause, start docking, I think was what it was saying. And so I couldn't get it to do anything. I couldn't get it to, you know, go mow. It would just dock itself back as soon as it disconnected from the contacts. So I tried a couple things here. I'll walk you through my troubleshooting process. I tried the new firmware update because I had been holding out on that. I did go ahead and update that. I also disconnected the charging station. I disconnected the battery from the actual Limo itself. And then I also disconnected the RTK station because I thought, well, maybe this is a positioning issue and it doesn't know it's on the charger for whatever reason. I just wanted to try that. So I basically shut everything down, let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes, plugged it all back in, and it was still doing the same thing. Well, there was one other step that I needed to take to eliminate, all right, this is a major issue or this is not a major issue. What I did was I actually canceled the task at hand, and then I actually selected a different zone. And once I did that, it backed up perfectly fine. It went out into the grass and it started mowing. So I brought it back, and what I had to do was actually remap my entire yard zone here that I have. I don't know what happened or why it did that, but through a couple troubleshooting steps, it did correct itself, and we have since moved on and have been running flawlessly for about 3.5 or 4 days now. So that is the bad. Let's talk a little bit more about the good. Can y'all see these stripes? My yard has never in the month of June, in 3 years that we've had this house, looked like this. I can show you the mower back here. It's mowing now. This is the first time I've actually checked the cross pattern toggleable switch in the software to where it'll complete its mow one direction, and then you can actually select the angle at which you want it to turn and mow a cross pattern. I just selected 90 degrees to create a checkerboard because I wanted to see how it would do. So it has mowed my entire yard twice in 2 days. It's about 1.3, 1.4 acres. We've had some interruptions with the rain, which has caused delays with that. But overall, the mower is keeping up well. 1.2 acres, it can knock that out in like 12 hours during the daylight easily here typically. But again, these stripes, I'm going to show you some B-roll probably over this, but these stripes are phenomenal. Now, all credit to Nate McComb with his striping kit for the Lymow One Plus. I did install it. I actually had a couple of the 3D printed mounts break. Shot Nate over an email contact form that I filled out on his website, and within like 10 minutes he had responded to me. He sent me 2 new prints out of some different materials, and I have been running this one print. I hadn't even gotten into the second set that he sent me, but this one print I have been running for I think 2 weeks now. I have not checked them for wear, but they have not fallen off. They have not broken, so everything is looking good there. Something else that has just been phenomenal with this mower. My biggest positive with this entire experience using this Lymow One Plus has just been not riding my zero turn mower. It feels really good for the first time I've been married 6 years now, to have not had to worry about mowing the grass. Most of what I do with spray drones is not 100% seasonal, but things do get busy during the summertime, and especially back when I was farming full time, things were ultra busy in the summer, 80 hours a week, sometimes even 100 hours a week. And so not having the stress of, hey man, I just worked 6 days, 14 hours a day straight, right? 14 hours a day, 6 days straight. Sunday, I got to go mow the grass. Otherwise, it's going to be super overgrown. It's not going to be looking good. And we want to take good care of our stuff. And that is just not a good reflection of who we are or good stewardship of what we have been entrusted with. So the feeling of not having to get on my zero turn lawnmower and mow it in 4 weeks is one of the best feelings ever. If you think that this robot mower, or really any robot mower for that matter, is going to be a product that you buy and you just set it and you never touch it again, you forget about it, and it just goes out and it just works, around the clock, 365 days a year, without you ever doing anything to it, you're delusional. There's not a product on the market that's going to be that for you, unless you have a yard that's like a 10 by 10 plot, right? I mean, that might be the only scenario in which you would be able to achieve something like that. But for the most part, you are going to have to do some babysitting. You might have to do some troubleshooting along the way. But overall, 10 out of 10 so far. Really satisfied with this product from a consumer's perspective. Again, what we want to do is give you guys an honest, unbiased review with what we have going on with the Lymow One Plus. We are on a journey to see how this mower does in the real world. This is not sponsored. We do sell these, we do support these, but it is in no way a sponsored review. We paid for our Lymow unit that was shipped out here, and we are going to continue to run it and test it. I want to mention this. We have started a new promotion where we are essentially, if you are in the Southeast, if you're within 200 miles of Charlotte, for free, if you buy a Lymow One Plus through us, we will come out, we will help set it up, we will assist with the setup, we'll give you some training, and we will absolutely do a quality check on the equipment before we leave with it. We will make sure everything's running properly. We'll make sure everything is functioning as is, as should, before we leave, and that way you've got somebody boots on the ground with you there in case anything were to arise as far as issues go. Another thing that we are currently running, and I think this is going to be a really big one, if you go and look at Lymow's return policy, I see a lot of people out there, man, I'm at the 29th day, I want to send this unit back. Lymow hadn't responded to my emails. I've been trying to get with them for 45 days, all this other stuff about how they want to send their unit back. Do not go through that. What we are doing here in the Charlotte area, at least, where I might be taking this to a larger scale if there's a greater demand for it, but I want to do some test drives with these Lymow One Pluses. If you are interested in this product and you want to see how it does on your yard, in your grass, in your environment, prior to pulling the trigger, please contact us. We don't have any forward-facing material on this yet on our website or social media or anything. I want to start doing test drives where we can get these units in your environment, in your yard, and you can put them to test and see how they work for you prior to pulling the trigger on a unit, right? Not many people know this unless you actually go and read the document. Lymow charges a 14.4% restocking fee, as well as the buyer has to pay for the shipment back to their warehouse. I'm in North Carolina. These units are shipping out of Dallas and Los Angeles. It's going to cost me at least $250 to ship a unit back to those locations. And so with this, we want to help cut back on costs for the end users, and we want to give you guys the opportunity to test this equipment prior to $3,000+ on it, just to try it. Nobody wins in a scenario like that. You try the equipment out, you don't really like it, you send it back. Lymow doesn't win, the customer doesn't win because it costs them like $800 out of their pocket to ship it back, to pay the processing fees, all that stuff. So what I want to do is I want to give you guys the opportunity to see for yourself what this product is, if it will work for you. So what I want you to do is, if you're interested in that, please reach out to us. You can email us directly at info@covenant-robotics.com, or you can go to our website, www.covenant-robotics.com. There on that website, if you go to the Lymow One Plus page, you can actually scroll to the bottom and you can submit a form. Just submit a form with your contact information. Let us know that you're interested in receiving a test drive unit for the Lymow One Plus, and we can move forward in conversation about what that might look like for you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for spending it with me on this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please be sure to leave them in the comment section. Please like, please subscribe, and I mentioned it in the last video. If there's something specific that you want to see tested or done with the Lymow One Plus, please let us know. We'd be glad to put it to the test for you. Everybody have a good day. Thanks again. Let us know if you have any questions.